Hello, this is Mike at Retro and Vintage Watches and Restorations. This is the assembly video for the Seiko 6106 movement. This is the center wheel under my USB microscope. What you're going to see is me putting a little bit of Mobius 9010 on the underside. It's quite tricky because I can't see properly what I'm doing at the time. Again, I may be using too much oil. It's a bit of a contentious issue, and I'm by no way a professional. Just showing you where I would put the oil. Okay, and now we're going to fit the center wheel. And followed by the escape wheel. I find it easier to put the escape wheel in before I put the bridge, because sometimes the bridge can hamper the placement of the part. Now I'm just going to oil the top of the center wheel where the jewel from the bridge would be. Just again, Mobius 9010. There you can see the jewel, and the bridge just fits in with one screw. And of course, you're always going to have to excuse my fingers. The camera is actually where my head should be on these videos. Next part to fit is the hacking lever. Quite a simple part, really. It just sits on a post. It's actuated by the clutch later on to move the arm over the escape wheel to stop it. So it's not screwed in, it just sits on its little pivot there. And now we take the barrel which holds the mainspring, and the face that's facing up is actually the face that would go down in the movement. And I'm just going to put a little bit of D5 Mobius oil on the bottom there, and that just helps with the friction on the main plate. And we just drop it in, and as always when you fit these things, you just want to give them a quick test to make sure they're moving. So you see the center wheel moving there. Now it's the third wheel that has to be put in place. Quite straightforward, just sits in that little hole. Quick test there to make sure it's still working. And then the fourth wheel, which goes through the center wheel hole. We're just going to oil the pivot for it. 9010 Mobius oil on there. Line that up and put it in. Next up, we've just got to oil the top of the barrel before we put the train wheel bridge on the top. This can sometimes be a little bit fiddly. You've got to line up the screw holes and get all the pivots sitting in there, sitting on their wheels. I quickly test it with the tweezers there on the barrel, and you should see the wheels moving, and especially the escape wheel. That sometimes doesn't move, which means it's not sitting in its pivot. And then we now need to put in the screws, and I tend to screw them in one at a time. I leave the screws out. If you put them all in one go, I've tended to find if I knock something, I tend to then lose them, so I always like to be a little bit careful. Great shots of my fingers here, as you can see. Okay, the last one. Again, I apologise about my fingers obscuring the view. There we have it. Cover plate is on. Another quick test to make sure. Next part is the click. A little bit more tricky on the 6106. You have to line it up, as you can see, and it's actually screwed down rather than sitting between two posts like it does on some of the other Seiko movements. I tend to find that this little screw here can be quite tricky. Quite often it will slip out and you have to start all over again. There we are, just got to line it up. It's moved again. And finally tighten it up. And now we need the ratchet wheel. And we just oil once again. Again, bit of D5 just on the top of there, on top of the barrel. Quite easy to fit this. It's a square hole, fits in nice and easily. On some models these have an opposite thread on the screw, but on this occasion it doesn't. What you find is when you screw them up, it starts to wind the mainspring, and as you can see there, all the wheels are moving. So I just try and hold it a little bit with my finger, just to nip it a little bit tighter. And seeing the wheels all moving is a very good sign, because it means everything's sitting in its pivots and working properly. The next part we'll fit is the pallet fork and bridge, and of course that then stops that movement that you can see there. Okay, so here's the pallet fork. all I'm doing here is indicating where you would want to put the tiniest amount of oil, usually on the exit stone, before fitting it, and it sits in its jewel there. This can take quite some time to find its pivot. You have to be pretty careful, you don't want to damage it. There we are. And then you need the bridge. Just the gentlest of touches on this. Now what I see there is it's not in, the pivot on the top of the jewel there is not lined up. I can see that by the bridge rocks rather than sits flat, as you can see there. Okay, I'm happy it's in position. Just tighten the two screws up. Just test to make sure that it's nice and loose, which it is. Now all I want to do is put some wind on the mainspring, and the pallet fork will then hold the tension through the escape, and then we just test that to make sure that everything should be working. So I'll just nudge the pallet fork with my oiler and you'll see it flick from side to side. Should flick nice and quick like it did there. Again, I'm a bit obscured by the camera at this point, so I can't quite see what I'm doing. There. So if that's moving slowly, then it's not right. It needs to move nice and fast. Okay, I'm happy with that now. So it's time to fit the balance. So just bring it in, try and line it up as best you can. You want to get the impulse jewel in the middle of the pallet fork. Doesn't always happen first time. I tend to see there it's hitting it. I can see the wheel won't turn. I tend to get these on usually quicker than this, but for this video it was a bit more tricky. There. So that's always a good sign when it runs. And we'll just fit the screw. Give it a shake. There we are. So that's the movement side completed, other than the automatic framework, which is all the winding mechanism, the auto winding mechanism. The next part will just be showing you how I take out the Diashock jewel. My apologies, it's blurred there, the camera can't quite focus, but you need to just twist that a little spring that holds it in place. And then I'm going to take out the jewel, which comes out in its setting. And here we are under my microscope, and I'm trying to get a bit of oil right in the middle. On this occasion, again, because I'm trying to record, I can't quite see as clearly as I'd like. This is my first time trying to use this microscope for video purposes anyway. when I'm doing this, when I'm not filming, I just use my ×10 loop. That's usually sufficient. And then we just use the setting and capillary action for the jewel to find its seat. We turn it over, and that's it, sufficiently oiled. Now all we have to do is fit it back into the movement and fit the spring again. There is another one of these jewels on the bottom on the main plate, and of course I will have done the same to that one off camera. So this is always the hard part. I can get one end in, and you've got to try and tuck those bits under the recess. And there I'm pressing a bit too hard. I've actually stopped the balance, which is not good really. And finally, the spring is back into position. Okay, that's it for part 1. If you found this helpful, please like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to join the Facebook group, Retro and Vintage Watches and Restorations.